Hello, everyone. My name is Ronnie Rocha. I am a classmate in your ethical problem solving class. I'm doing my discussion by video because, just because I kind of want to, and we can. I'm aspiring to be a public speaker, motivational speaker as well, and could always use the practice. So I think this is a great way to practice and help break out of that shell of the fear of public speaking. I don't have a fear of public speaking. I just need to get better at certain aspects of it. I strongly suggest that if any of y'all are wanting to not so much as be a public speaker, but just have a little bit better speaking skills, anything like that, I strongly suggest you do these videos. If you want to, what I suggest is write out your discussion, and you can probably send it in to your professor, but then do a video and just try it out and see how it works out, and talk to your professor and see if the video, would suffice, or if, you needed some things to work on. Because I think the professor I spoke to said it's hard to sometimes match up to the rubric. So you want to make sure that, the video, you're answering the questions and everything that the rubric's asking for. So I would strongly suggest that, but it would help you get out of your certain kind of anxieties or fears or anything like that you probably will have. My hardest thing is not looking at myself like this in my phone instead of looking about where the camera is. So I'm looking more at you. So just little tips of that. But getting on to the discussion of our 4.1 discussion of the civil disobedience, which I learned a lot of, which we kind of know what it is. We just didn't know the terminology, or I didn't. So the example of civil disobedience that I'd say I've experienced, seen, or anything, is the protest of the NRA. I'll get into more about how I'm, which way I'm leaned later on, because it does ask a question. But the protest of an NRA, whenever the NRA has conventions, whenever they have meetings, anything like that, there's always protesters that go and usually talk about some sort of either gun control or banning guns or anything like that. Completely understand, but that's one of the things that I had noticed. Now, the question also asks, what ethical issue was related to the civil disobedience? So the main ethical issue that I'm seeing is the NRA has a convention, an annual convention, but they just don't stay at that convention. They just don't do that. They will meet up, unfortunately, at places to where they've had some kind of mass shooting or school shootings. And the first time I'd seen that, it was a Columbine, that the NRA had showed up there. And a long time ago, I'd kind of realized, I was like, that's kind of heartless, Morally, I felt that was wrong. There was a school shooting, people died, kids died, and that's not the time or place to do that. It wasn't until a little later that I kind of realized, and this kind of goes on to whether I agree or disagree with their actions of kind of both sides. As far as the NRA showing up at those places, I understand it. It can definitely feel like a moral, wrong in that case. But if you kind of open ears and kind of listen to both sides, I can kind of get into why our Second Amendment was there. Just roughly, everybody says, well, it's to protect yourself. But, Constitution does say to protect ourselves from our own government and sort of tyranny, So won't get into that too much, but I understand why it's important for, us to have guns and anything like that. But like I said, ethical, it's real hard to talk about. But the reason why I've learned that they go to those places after school shootings, mass shootings, and everything is because a lot of people are emotional. And a lot of people don't make the best decisions when they're emotional. And unfortunately, I feel it's a lot of times our government can take advantage of us. It's when we're emotional about something like that. And it's so easy for them to say, hey, you're right, here's a bill to ban guns. We should do it. What better time than to that? So I don't think, so that to me, that would be morally wrong as well. I do agree. I'm all about protesting. And as a matter of fact, it's more of getting together out of an area of concern. for kids' safety. That's one of my number one deals. Child and adolescent psychology is what I'm getting my degree in. And so kids' safety is extremely important to me. But I don't believe taking away our guns at the point that we're in now is the reason to do it. So I agree with the NRA for showing up that they do and how they do it. I also agree with the protesters because, like I said, it's a kind of mourning. But unfortunately, I've seen a lot of videos and a lot of discussions made with these protesters, and they're kind of ignorant a lot of times. Not all of them. I'm not saying everyone at the protest is. But when they talk to them, I'll hear people say something about the AR-15 using 50 caliber rounds, which is, not true. If you do a little research, you're going to find out that most of them shoot 22, which are basically glorified BBs. And so can still kill. Don't get me wrong. Still dangerous, but it doesn't do the damage like people say. It's not an automatic. But, regardless of that, kind of getting off subject there. I do agree with that. I do agree with them being able to protest, being able to spread their awareness. But at the same time, the NRA is spreading their awareness as well. Let's not get tricked into this. Let's kind of keep a level head and keep balance on that. So that's kind of where I am with that. What solution would I recommend? Man, the obvious solution is education. And kind of like what I was just spitting out right there, a little education on there. How I said that some of the people are ignorant. That's where education comes in. Educate yourself. Us online students, we do not have a professor right here telling us everything to do, everything, breaking it down, everything. We have to do our research. We have to go a little bit further above and beyond to get our work done, to get our work answered, even if it's contact with the professor. But it's education. Educating gun owners, educating non-gun owners, educating the schools and the shootings. So as far as the civil disobedience, the protesters, I strongly suggest education. And how would you do that? I believe that, hold on, I had to look at some of my notes real quick. I think we should have more programs. More money spent on programs educating everybody about guns. Okay. Whether you choose to own one or not, the dangers of them, the safety of them, everything like that. I'm from Texas, so we do carry. A lot of people open carry or even conceal carry here. I do as well. But with the education, it takes a lot of the antsy out of it. Like I said, it just keeps you educated on it. So I'd love to see classes held for anybody who wants to join and go and do that, whether it's at the police stations, whether the communities, just come and learn about it and everything. Be more educated. And they might even protest more, but at least they're educated on what they're talking about, what they're saying, and they can have a better argument and a better awareness. Same thing with the NRA. It educate them. I believe also that schools, it's sad that the budgeting for schooling is so far out. It takes budgeting for schooling, they've taken it away, and I'm really that's a whole other discussion and argument, and maybe we'll get to. But mine is spend the money protecting our children. If it means armed guards at every elementary school, I don't care how it looks. If it protects them, it's worth it. Teachers with tenure, maybe we can look at arming them if they're felt, the need to extra, an extra incentive to extra pay. The reason why I say this is, and it's not going to solve every problem, but think of like a criminal. If you're going to rob somebody's house and there's a little old lady right here and I live next door, you've seen me open carry, you've seen my guns, you've seen Smith & Wesson protect Smith & Wesson. I'm sorry. Guns. Sorry, I'm really kind of blown for a loop. Anything that shows that I've carried guns, we have guns, we protect ourselves with guns, we protect our home with guns, and then you got the little old lady who's anti-guns, everything like that. We both have valuable stuff in our house. If you're a criminal, which home are you really going to go to? Are you going to go to the one that with all the guns and they protect themselves or not? 99.9% of the time, you're going to that one. Because even just having a gun could be a deterrent. Knowing that you're going to a school that is protected by guns, that the teachers can have guns, that the doors are locked, and there's people that patrol there, and especially at the front door. It's going to be harder to get into. Metal detectors in there would be helpful as well. It's not going to solve the problem, but it could definitely help the problem a lot. But as far as the civil disobedient, I'm all for protests. I'm all for peaceful protests. You're not hurting anybody. You're anything like that. If you are going to break the law in a civil disobedient, being civilly disobedient, and you're going to break the law, if you choose to, if you choose to, understand that you're going to have consequences and repercussions, because every action has a reaction and possibly repercussions. But if you firmly believe in that 100%, then take your punishment. I mean, it is what it is. So I think that would really help educating as young as possible, educating everybody, gun owners, non-gun owners, everything like that. And then arm our schools a little bit better. Kids are the most important thing in my book. There's kids that have get killed all the time, unfortunately, in school shootings. And to me, if the number was just one a year, that's one too many. So I would do whatever I can to protect them. And that's what I would like to do, is education and spend some money on arming our schools and protecting them. So I hope you enjoyed this discussion. It went a little longer than I thought. I thought it was going to be hard to complete the 2 to 5 minutes. I'm running in probably about almost 12 minutes here. So I apologize if you stayed and watched this. I really appreciate it. Strongly suggest you to try a video note. Just try it out. Any questions, anything, give me a holler. So, God dang it. Is it? I'm sorry, I was getting a call. So I thought it stopped recording. I'm like, God darn it. Anyway, but shoot me an email. Sorry, I get totally distracted. Shoot me an email or anything, and hopefully you respond to this. Thank you. Look forward to this response.